You know, anybody that's watched any of my fishing videos here on YouTube, you know that I am a spoon plugger. I'm a follower of Buck Perry, the father of modern fishing. I am a graduate of Buck Perry's School of Fishing, have been for 50 years. And Buck is the man who figured out how to catch any kind of fish anywhere in the world, any time of the year. He put fishing together. He's the father of all modern fishing, and yet most modern fishermen never heard of it. But Buck died several years ago, but he had several instructors, but his top instructor, a man named Don Dixon. And Don Dixon came out of retirement long enough to put up a series of videos on YouTube that will show you how to catch any kind of fish anywhere in the world, any time of year. He teaches Buck Perry's complete School of Fishing. So do yourself a favor and go to Don Dixon Fishing on YouTube. You will not regret it. Don is the only man out there that's teaching pure, successful fishing. Period. That's all Buck did. Buck just taught. Buck made a living and Don made a living out of fishing, but what they sold was knowledge. They taught you how to catch fish. They didn't try to sell you plugs or lures or big boats or anything. Knowledge is what catches fish. And knowledge is what they shared with you, both in the classroom and on the water. So do yourself a favor. Go to Don Dixon Fishing on YouTube and learn Buck Perry's School of Fishing. Now, part of that, in each of my videos, I try to illustrate a little point in part of Buck's teachings. Well, one of the main things that he teaches is weather and water conditions. That weather and water will make or break your fishing trip on any given day. And by studying Buck Perry's system, you can look around at the weather. You can look around at the weather, and you can pretty much predict what kind of fishing you're going to have on that given day. And almost 100% of the time, you can predict bad fishing. You can predict that the fishing is going to be tough. To predict good fishing is not quite that easy, because you might say, well, the conditions look good today, and you go down there and you didn't catch any fish while you were there. Even though conditions may be good for a fish movement, the fish will only move once or twice a day and for a very short period of time. So, and if you're there outside of one of these movement periods, you're probably not going to do any good anyway. But anyway, you can predict what's bad fishing and often what's going to be good fishing, okay? In other words, you can predict whether you ought to stay home, mow the yard today, or go fishing. Well, the video that follows here is one of those days when I already had the yard mowed, so I could go ahead and go fishing anyway. But it was a bad condition, bad fishing condition. But I knew that. I knew that when I went. And like Buck said, anybody can catch fish on a good day. When you go down there and the fish are biting, as they say, basically what's happening is the fish have moved. They're into the shallows. They're scattered all through the shallows. They're very active. And most anybody that went fishing caught fish. But that, as you well know, that don't happen very often. Usually fishing is tough and it gets tougher. So I went down and I knew that it was going to be a bad fishing day. But by following Buck's teachings, I was still able to make a catch. It was not a great catch by any means, but it was a catch. And if you can go down and you can make a catch on a bad fishing day, on a day when virtually all the fishermen on the lake get skunked, you did all right. If you could make a catch of any description. And on this day, I made a catch. All of them small fish, not a big fish in the bunch. But I did catch some fish, and I never saw another fisherman catch a fish, never talked to another fisherman that caught a fish. Everybody was blanked out, zero. So if you go down and you catch a few fish when virtually nobody else caught any fish, you've had a good day. But anyway, on this day, you had to be able to again, as Buck says, you need to be able to cast and troll. And about half of these fish that I caught in the shallows on the troll, or I caught them 2 to 3 foot deep, or I caught fish fishing vertically deep in excess of 40 feet. So what that meant was under this bad weather condition, most of the fish are retreated down into deep water, and that's where they were. A very few were left scattered in the shallows, and I was able to pick up a few up there. They hadn't retreated back down to the deep water yet. And in the deep water, the fish that I caught in the deep water, I'm sure they were on their way to even deeper water, but I just intercepted a couple of them. But anyway, you need to be able to both cast and troll. Let me relate just a little incident. I came up to the loading ramp here a while back, and at the same time that I happened to come up, there's a fellow that has a local outdoor show. He's got an outdoor show, and he has lots of fishing shows, a lot of fishing. We came up to the dock, or come up to the loading ramp, and just two of us there, and I said, "Joel, did you have a good day?" And he said, "Oh, I cast that mud bug all day long, and I never got a strike." He cast that mud bug, one plug, all day long. And I never got a strike. He said, "Did you do any good?" And I said, "Well, I caught 31. And he said, "What?" I said, "I caught 31. He said, "31, what was you fishing for?" And I said, "Bass." And he said, "You caught 31 bass?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah." He said, "Well, what'd you catch them on?" And I said, "A spoon plug." Of course, he didn't know what a spoon plug was. Of course, I showed him one. And he said, "Well, how was you fishing at?" And I said, "I was trolling." He said, well, I don't troll. So that was his reason for not, of course, catching fish. He didn't troll. Of course, he didn't have to tell me that he didn't troll. I knew that from his boat. He was in a big, heavy, cumbersome bass boat that there's no way on earth that you can precision troll from, period. You just can't do it. Back when bass boats first came out, I wanted one. Those things are nice, they're comfortable, they're all that kind of stuff. But Buck said, the day you purchase one of them things, the day you're going to put a limit on how many fish you're going to catch and how good a fisherman you're going to be. Well, I knew everything else the man had told me was true, but I let my desire to have a bass boat override that, so I bought me a bass boat. Of course, my fish catch went to the basement, and so I thought, well, it's that bass boat. So I went and traded that one and got another bass boat. Well, there for a while, I pretty much kept one of the boat dealers in business buying bass boats. And finally, I come to my senses and this ain't working at all. Oh, so I had to admit Buck was right. Got rid of my bass boat, went and got me a boat that I could handle on a dime, that I could both cast and troll from. And in this little video that's following, it's a little bit of an illustration that you have to be able to do both. If you're going to be consistently successful, you have to be able to both cast and troll. Because about half the time trolling can be successful, about half the time casting will be. So if you want to be a half-time fisherman, that's okay with me. I want to put all the odds in my favor, so I want to be able to try to catch fish the vast majority of the time when I go fishing, and that requires that I have to be able to cast and troll. And on this video coming up, you will see that it was a beautiful day to be on the water, but a bad fishing day. And I was able to catch a few fish by fishing long and hard, casting and trolling. So do yourself a favor, go to Don Dixon Fishing and learn the Buck Perry School of Fishing. You will not regret it. If you're serious about catching fish, you're serious about your fishing, that'll be the best time you ever spent was studying that, because knowledge is what catches fish. Not fancy equipment, knowledge. Knowledge is what catches fish. So, talk soon. I wasn't going to do this, but it's just going to make this video just a little bit longer. But I want to make a point here. Why is trolling not allowed in most tournaments? Bass tournaments in particular. Why is trolling not allowed? Let me give you a little bit of a history lesson. Back in President Eisenhower, Dwight D. Eisenhower formed an organization from the top 6 nations in the United Nations. And he formed this it's going to be a friendly get-together, if people get to know each other better. So he formed this little organization to get representatives from these 6 nations together, that they could learn from each other, they could learn to understand each other, get to know each other a little better, and among those was fishing. So they're going to have these fishing tournaments that these dignitaries from these different countries can participate in these fishing tournaments that he was going to sponsor, that the government's going to sponsor. So Eisenhower, of course, he knew Buck, of course, and he said, Buck, how in the world are we going to keep these spoon pluggers of yours from winning all these tournaments? Buck said, you can't. You can't. Eisenhower said, but we have to. We have to. We can't let these guys, these spoon pluggers, win all these tournaments. Buck said, well, I don't know what you're going to do. If you allow them to enter in there, they're going to win most of your tournaments. And then Buck got to thinking. I said, well, we don't want to limit everything, but we got to keep this handful of people from winning all the time. So Buck said, no, I'll tell you what, don't let them troll. Don't let them troll, because trolling is the shortcut to finding the fish. It's the quickest way on earth to find the fish in any body of water. The Buck said, if you don't let them troll, that'll take away one of their big advantages, that if everybody else is casting and these guys are trolling, they're going to learn the water faster, they're going to arrive at the fish faster, and they use trolling to locate the fish, then they use casting to load the boat with them. So back then, everybody had basically fishing boats. You didn't have, that was before the bass boat days. That was before all the big boat and all that. Most people just had fishing boats. So Buck Perry was the one that started not allowing trolling in a tournament. And that was for a reason. To these dignitaries, they didn't know anything about trolling. They didn't know anything about spoon plugging. So in order to give them a more level chance, Buck says, eliminate trolling. Everybody's got the same amount of time by casting to try to locate the fish. So you took away the spoon pluggers tool, one of his main tools. But why is it not allowed today? Buck Perry started, but why it's not allowed today? Because if you allow trolling today, fishing is a big-time business, a multi-billion-dollar business today. And if they allow trolling, somebody in a little old boat out here, a little old aluminum boat, and a small engine, and one rod with a series of spoon plugs, he's got 5 spoon plugs in his boat, one rod and a little boat, and he's going to go out there, and in a huge percentage of the time, he's going to win these tournaments over these big pros. He's going to win it simply because he can cover water faster, more efficiently. Simple as that. So if they allow trolling, they're not going to be able to sell big boats, big motors, and all this equipment. They're just not going to do it. It's money. Money is the reason you can't troll in tournaments today. Not have anything to do with fire or anything else. It's money. Follow the money, and you'll generally find the answer to most anything you're curious about. Talk soon. This is my first, whatever he is, this is my first fish of the day. He's little. He's little. He's staying down, so it might be a striper or hybrid. See what he is. Oh, he's a striper. Aha. Well, that's good to see. There should be several of them in there. Should be several of them. Got some new grippers here. See how they work. Well, I don't know how they're going to work. Small hybrid. So, let's go back. Let's go back through there again. It's unusual to have just one. They're usually well in school, so let's just see. Right, yeah, that's a fish, that's a fish, that's a fish. Yep. Ooh, that's a good fighter, boy, I tell you. Yeah, you gotta love this. These little dickens are good fighters. I need my other gripper. All right, go right back down through there. Now we're going down to about 8 or 9 feet. I trolled the 500 and 400, now we're on the 250. I caught them on both, the 5 and the 4, but only one each. So I haven't really pinpointed the spool yet. We're going to try to locate the school. There's a lot of brush in that 8-10 foot deep zone right through here. A lot of bait fish out there. Yes, ma'am. Huh?
Did you get in okay?
Yeah.
So it's crowded?
Huh? No, not as bad as yesterday. At least right now it wasn't.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to check on you.
Okay. I'm checked.
Okay. Okay, honey. Well, I'll talk to you later on. I hope you have a good day.
I will, huh?
Okay. I'll talk to you later.
All right, baby.
I love you, honey.
Love you, honey.
All right. Bye, honey.
Bye, babe.